Welcome to another episode of Storytelling in the Tropics. My name is Allison Harrison. My guest today, you have seen her on your television screens, you have seen her on stage, you have heard her voice on the radio. Today, my guest is Maylynne Lowe. Welcome, Maylynne.
Hi, Allison. Thank you so much.
All right, Maylynne. So, we have known each other
Yeah,
for a minute,
yes,
and I thought that it would have been interesting to find out what your story is.
right.
So let's just start at the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica at St. Joseph's Hospital. And I've lived here all my life. I only went away to school for very short moments in time and then found excuses to always come home.
Yes.
I traveled quite a bit with the airline when I worked with them, and before that too. I was fortunate to do a lot of traveling, but I'm not leaving here, and have just always loved it here, and I'm very, very Jamaican, even if people don't think I'm Jamaican.
Yes, she's as Jamaican gets. All right, tell me about your school life.
I went to Immaculate Prep and high school. I followed suit of all my sisters, all girls school, and very Catholic. And after that, I went to Priory for a year. I did Schools Challenge quiz there and represented the theatre and English literature, and I got my answers right. So I was very
Did your team win?
no,
Okay, that's all right.
we didn't win. But yeah, and then I went away to Emerson College in Boston, Massachusetts to study acting. But before I went to Priory, I went to a summer school for 6 weeks in New York American Academy of Dramatic Arts, just to do a summer course, to test it out, to see if I really enjoyed theater. Yeah.
So what drew you to the theater?
It it seemed like a natural course of events in a way, maybe just destiny. I was very alone because my siblings are much older than me, so I would play alone. I always had an active imagination, but I never had much confidence. And I grew up doing ballet, so I was on stage dancing, but I didn't even participate in drama school or do drama at Immaculate. I was very insecure about acting. And I don't know, later on in life, I think when I went to Priory, and I did some theatre, funnily, that 1 year at Priory, which that school doesn't even exist anymore, I got to play Shylock in Merchant of Venice, and I really loved acting. And I had done some musical theatre with JMTC before, but that's not script. That's not, that's song and dance. So I just decided I want to be an actress. And I went and tested it at AADA. I loved it. I came back. I applied to schools, did auditions. I got accepted to 3 out of 4 of the universities. And I chose Emerson because we got a scholarship.
Right.
They gave us financial aid based on my audition, which was very nice. And so I went there. But after 2 years, I left. I didn't enjoy acting school. And I've noticed in my life, I'm old enough to say now, that whenever I am interested in a craft and I get tuition, I like to know the rules and absorb, and then I've sort of had enough. I sort of reject the system in a way. It becomes a little preachy or the way. And I think when I've had my fill of what I need, I abandon it. And I've done that, I've noticed, even with painting at Edna Manley, when I took that up for a stint, I'm interested and I learn what I need to learn. And, you know, I'm not saying drop out of school or drop out of college, but it's just something I noticed about myself. Yeah.
So what were some of your more memorable moments in like your teenage years?
Regarding acting?
Yes.
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 When I was at American Academy of Dramatic Arts, they divide you into 2 groups, comedians, dramatists. The comedians are always really talented. They have timing down pat, they have a charisma, very natural. And comedians can do drama, but not all dramatists can do comedy. So I got a role And I'll never forget, it was Hat Full of Rain by Michael Gazzo. And I was only 16, but I played a pregnant woman who was married to someone in the Vietnam War. So he's in a wheelchair, but I'm sleeping with his brother. And I had to do a scene where I'm speaking to my husband in the wheelchair, but I call him the wrong name, and he realizes. And I was far too, I was so immature and so, inexperienced, but it really, I think, cemented my desire to learn about the craft. And what's nice about acting is it never used to be that way. I think in the 40s and 50s, theater was just a thing if you had a knack. Now acting and it's become sort of like architecture or like learning to play the violin. You can break it down to a craft and teach an individual the craft of acting, voice work. And with discipline, that person produces astounding results, So anyone can do it. It can be taught. It has nothing to do with talent anymore, which is wonderful. I think that's absolutely amazing because it just opens the door. And I think people misunderstood Stanislavski. I think people misunderstand a lot of acting and they think, oh my God, this is so miserable, I can't do this method thing. I don't think it was ever meant to be excruciating. And we're torturing ourselves. It really is meant to be delightful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good time for me. That experience there, being overseas and getting a role in a serious piece. Yeah.
So how did you get into mainstream Jamaican?
Absolute buck-ups, because I came back home at 20 years old and got no acting work. Nobody cared that I had studied acting, and the plays were going on in the newspapers and so on. And so I had to get a job. So I did what a lot of my peers were doing that I went to Immaculate with. I joined Air Jamaica, which doesn't exist anymore, the way Prairie doesn't exist anymore. This is crazy. But so I joined Air Jamaica and I was a purser. I was with them for 5 years. And good salary, great experience. Butch Stewart owned it at the time, so I got a 50% discount off of Sandals Hotels. And it was really nice, those were the days when you were like a supermodel on the plane, They really took care of you. You got money for makeup and lipstick. You get an allowance for perfume. It was amazing. But anyway, so I had no work, so that was what I was doing. And I got a call one day to audition for Royal Palm Estate to be a lawyer, to have a small role. And I did the audition, and I didn't get the part, but I got a call back if I would be interested in being a staple on the show. And I got the role of Tanya Blackburn, which really shifted a paradigm for me. Before that, my good friend David Heron took pity on me and gave me a role when I was 21 at the Barn Theatre called Foreplay, and that was my first paying theatre job. But those were pivotal moments. Yeah.
So, and you were with Royal Palm for 11 years?
Yeah, I was with them for more than a decade, 11 years. And then the show went on for, I think, 4 years after that and then ended. Yeah, I was the fourth and longest to play Tanya. There were 4 actresses that did it, each for 1 season, and then I did it for 11 seasons.
If memory serves, Tanya was not a very nice person.
No.
In the show.
Well, good and bad are our argument are relative. You have to have villains. You have to have controversy or conflict, or there's no art. And sometimes I like for people to have empathy and sympathy for the bad guy and the villain. So she was a bit bitchy, aristocratic, plantocracy, colonial, and I wore lots of large hats, very glamorous, and had many relationships with different people. And I think Jamaica, they didn't hate that. I think they liked seeing a sort of representative of how that kind of person stay, you know, how they really are. And you know, you'd think that that's not an admirable thing, but outer road, I'm very loved and respected, and people treat me so nicely. And I think that they realize I was just portraying
You're
something.
playing a
Yes,
character.
yes.
I was about to ask you if the dislike from the audience came off screen, like when you're on the road, like, and people see you, they'd be like,
I get dislike for my Instagram pictures. I get unfollowed for things like that. No, not for my performances, because I don't think they can point the finger at me alone. I think they realize, oh, it's a whole production, and them make her do that.
right,
So,
right,
yeah, they don't
right,
hate me for that. They might
right.
not like the role or the show, or might not be a fan of mine at all. But they don't. It's not so point fingerish. It's not so direct.
Well, how do you find the creative industry here in Jamaica? You know, acting, theater, screen. How like during that time, what were the opportunities like? Were there a lot of opportunities for, you know, young actors, actresses, performers? I mean, how would you gauge then and now Jamaica?
Boy, it's the same. And it was never easy for me. I have never done an audition and gotten the part in my life, including Royal Palm Estate. I audition for many things. You guys know me as an actress, and I've never gotten the part. How I get to work is I do a play. Directors, producers, writers see the play, and they might like something or want to use me for something. And I have been fortunate to have a disciplined work ethic. And I think that a lot of times people might work with me for that disciplined work ethic more so than talent. And I've been lucky, really blessed to work with everybody from Father Ho Lung, JMTC, you know, Jambies. Everybody has been so gracious to me and given me an opportunity. But as far as going cold turkey into a room as a Jamaican for a Jamaican movie or a Jamaican anything happening, even Jamaican plays, I've never gotten the role. And to be honest, I also don't have a look that is that might be easy to cast.
Different kinds of people will see you and think that you're being showered with opportunities.
Jesus, right. They don't know the truth.
What is the truth?
That I don't get cast when I audition, and it's very hard. And it's not just me; it's hard for all actors. It's the industry is really, really vicious, and showbiz is nasty. I was warned about it. You know, when I said to my family that this is what I want to do, they were like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" It's like cutthroat. It's a filthy business. My sister was in a Hollywood movie. She was in a movie with Chuck Norris called Missing in Action 2, and she's in the movie for 30 seconds. But how that happened was she entered Miss Jamaica, and she was so beautiful, still is beautiful. And I don't know, somebody scouted her and chose her to be in this Hollywood movie, and they flew her to St. Lucia. And so my sister was in a motion picture film. And, you know, it's just like luck, because I've been acting for 30 years. I've never been in I've never been in 10 seconds of anything like that.
Right.
You know, it's kind of funny.
Right, and she just gets it.
I like that, actually. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But, yeah, no, it's not easy. And not to discourage people from wanting to pursue their dreams at all. And you can't, because if you're going to be an artist, you're going to be an artist.
Right.
There's nothing anybody can do about that.
You and I had a discussion some time ago about a period in your life when you had some.
Yeah.
It was a rough patch.
Well, yes, it was a rough patch. When I was 18, I want to be honest with you here and give you accuracy. I experimented with narcotics in Jamaica. I was never peer pressured. Nothing was forced on me. I asked. I actually enough up and asked. And I was curious and I think very tormented and rebellious. And that escalated very quickly into a sort of volatile youth where I was running away from home and giving a lot of trouble. And so my family intervened quickly. They're very encouraging to this day, the most loving family. And I went to a treatment center in Tampa, Florida, which I subsequently ran away from and got married.
Hold on. Hold on. I could just take it back a little bit. All right. Let's just take it back a little bit. So you experimented with narcotics.
Right.
And
Got sent away to get some help for that.
you were taking it here in Jamaica.
Right.
And then you got sent away.
Right. I got arrested here in Jamaica, and I went to Matilda's Corner police station for the night, and they took me to Fort Augustus prison to show me where they would put me if I didn't agree to get help and to go to treatment.
So were you in a cell by yourself? Or
I was in a cell by myself, and I was handcuffed and chained to this bench. And I remember it vividly. And I cuss, like hours in the cell. And people were like criminals, I'm sure. People were passing me and going about their business back and forth. But there I was, right just there in the cell. And I was being watched the whole time. How I knew it was half legit and half set up. My mom came to visit me in Matilda's Corner and asked me if I wanted KFC or Chinese.
So you could have, they could have gotten you out. They just wanted to teach you something. They want to teach you a lesson.
But you know, the police also arrested me with the substances. But my using cocaine was so short-lived. But what I mean by escalated so quickly was my personality just changed, and I became
when
like
you started taking
I
it.
just became like a lunatic, and so everybody intervened. And when I ran away from treatment, I was at treatment to get help. When I ran away from treatment, it was in retrospect me not being finished yet or not being done, giving trouble both to myself and to others, mostly to myself. It was such a self-destructive thing. And so I got married to this American. And
how long did you know this American for?
I knew him for a month. And we got married in the living room. And we had a marriage officer come and marriage license and rings from the pawn shop. And yeah, that whole scene. He was quite wealthy. And so, which was a bad thing because we had money to support our habit. And I got worse. I was no longer doing cocaine, Caribbean things. I was doing much harder things, which I won't get into. But what's harder than that, yeah? And I looked like I came out of the Holocaust. I was deathly skinny, jaundiced yellow, malnutritioned. I did blood tests every 6 months to ensure that I wasn't HIV positive.
Because of the needles?
Yeah, I put my family through a really rough time. And, it's funny. When I came home and I went through detox hair and treatment hair and recovery hair, I kind of got well in the place that I got sick. It's like Sankofa, looking back, right? The minute I got a good job, which was at the airline, and I was a healthy young lady, my dad passed. So it was almost like he was determined to see me well, no matter the cost, meaning both financially, but also to his body, because he went through quite a bit of heartache and heart attacks, and I
would imagine.
I'm not solely responsible. I'm not saying I'm responsible. He was a hard smoker, and he had his life. He had diabetes, but it was really beautiful for me that at least he could see me that way. And it's funny, I'm 45 now. I haven't had my dad for 24 years. I lost him long ago, and I don't remember him much. And I have conversations with him daily, and I wish so much that he could see what I am doing. And it's a little emotional what I'm talking about now, but more so in a literary way, because he always knew I danced and did theater and sang and so on. He left me doing that. But to now be able to write and be writing screenplays, not just prose and novellas for fun, is a way of me sort of getting an sense of wanting a appraisal, wanting some kind of nod or blessing. And I feel him so much with me, coursing through me when I work, especially in that literary way, because he was such an avid reader and encouraged me so much, and taught me so much. My mom taught me so much in another way because she wasn't educated at all. She left school at 9. So my mom is not as literate, doesn't write or spell correctly, and to this day. So my dad being very educated and my mom being a simple country woman, I have such a gift there with both things.
Does your experience, or have your experiences with abuse and so on, does that inform your work today?
Absolutely. You know, addiction is it's a daily thing. It's not even daily, it's a minutely thing. And the source of it really is coping, how people cope. So if I can cope with things differently without hurting myself in the process, that is, I think, a little more intelligent.
Yes.
We're not always able to do that, but at least I'm so aware now and so mindful. And I think my desire outweighs my, sort of destructive tendency, my desire to tell stories.
What kind of stories are you interested in?
Trauma. I'm interested in women's issues. I'm interested in being a voice for half of the population that has no voice. And I'm really sick and tired of the 6,000 years of patriarchy. And it's very important to me to tell stories about women, tell stories for women. I love men too, yes, they're included. I'm not a pagynist at all. This is not a sexist conversation. But to be obvious,
Yes.
what's also very sad is the treatment of women. I'll quote Euripides' Medea here, which is, no other creature on the planet is treated worse.
True.
And so I was raised to be sympathetic and empathetic. But this was a journey because I grew up with 4 sisters, so I was quite a misogynist, you know. I didn't like women very much because they were over me, bossing me around all the time, telling me to do this, telling me to do that. So I thought women were really, really, dominant, man, and loud, and didn't really, was quite a misogynist. And so it took a long time for me to realize what was going on in the world, what was going on in my family. Why are we this way?
What was that moment, that aha moment to say, oh, wow, so women are really like treated badly globally? What was that aha moment?
It's always made my stomach sick over the years. Jasmine Dean missing, Jean Watt missing, the names that I try to get out of my head of these women. So it's always been a very bitter taste in my mouth. That could be me, that could be my sister, that could be my friend, that is my friend. And the aha moment for me to be this amplified with these kinds of topics was actually when George Floyd was murdered, and Black Lives Matter had this, big outpouring, and the internet, the world a lot of people, a lot of well-intentioned brown skin, white skin people did not know this, or don't know this is happening in the world. And with social media, you get to, that's actually a very good thing. One good thing of social media, you get to see. And in having conversations about, Jamaica is different because we don't have racism that way, right?
Right.
But in seeing what happened to George Floyd, and you're watching it. I'm sorry I saw, but you can't get it out of your head. But having conversations with some friends about how much it's fucked me up, and I can't stop writing about these things. They had a talk with me, and the talk was actually before the split of the races, there was the split of the sexes.
Okay.
And do I understand that? And I said, absolutely. And that's why the most mistreated creature on earth is not just a woman, but a black woman.
Yes.
I'll add to Euripides' quote.
Yes.
His quote is wrong, actually. We need to fix that,
Yeah.
right? Am I wrong? So that just filled me again with another fire. And I am a very intense, extreme, and I tend to be a bit macabre. So when I write or do some work, it's very good when I can share it with friends who can clip with scissors and tailor down a lot of the graphic detail that I have. But you will ask me why the work is this way, or why do I express myself this way. I don't think that the art can be any more violent than society. I don't think so. Racism led me to feminism,
Yeah.
And it's also nice to piss off the bigots that don't like...
There are many of them.
Yeah, it's I think it's important to...
Yeah, I think that the status quo needs to be disturbed. It needs to be shaken,
Yeah.
not stirred, shaken.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was just curious because for me, you give off a very rebellious energy.
Absolutely. And yet, some of my best friends that know me very, very well, one of my besties, they laugh and say, "You rebellious that sets the alarm to wake up to do the interview and makes sure you're on time and disciplined. Show what part of you is rebellious." They think I'm so submissive and colonialized, and they're right. But I guess they also they don't see my rebellion as rebellion. I feel quite rebellious, and I try to be nonconformist and anti-power and all of that. I was that way instinctively. I told you earlier, as a child, and even at schools, and with when I get a sort of system forced on me, So I don't know if they're pulling my leg, but I will add that they do also see the good Catholic schoolgirl in me. Yeah.
I mean, that's a part of who you are, so
Yeah.
it doesn't make you any less of a rebel.
Right.
It's a
right,
part of who you are.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I'm very rebellious, instinctively, to be honest with you. I was all for the looting and destruction of property.
You were?
Yes, absolutely.
but you have some
Absolutely.
some
And
people who
I'm
think
all
that.
for rioting.
So you have some
I'm
people
all
who think
for
that
all of that.
destruction of property, especially of people who have nothing to do with what you're rioting about.
Okay, so let's go to what is property. So if a bunch of poor madmen shatter the windows of Azan's haberdashery and thief out all of those things, right? Whose things is it?
Hasn't.
No. Whose things is it in the first fucking place? Whose things is it?
All right, I'm listening.
Right? Now, to me, property is theft. To create a crime, to create a thief, make a crime. It's almost like to create problems, create an owner. I am of the thinking, there was a time millions of years ago when the earth had what we call Pangea, Pangea's garden, where all the continents were one. So if you split them up, you have Eurasia, Australia, so on. This is what happened over time, the platonics. But if you put them together, they fit like a puzzle. So imagine I want to go to Canada. Me and you want to go to Canada now. We just walk across, right? Because there's no water. It's one. We have now, it's all divided. There are divisions. This is mine. This is yours. This whole thing of ownership. So I am not for that. Yeah, I'm all for shoplifters. I don't shoplift.
Right.
But you get my drift.
But you have, from the entrepreneur, the business person's standpoint, they've saved, they've worked very hard.
And made money and off the backs of who and paid them minimum wage.
Well, that is
Property is theft. Whose things is it? When you sweep the spider out of your room, whose house is it? Is your room where you build? Or you or you get me?
Right, right. No. I'm following your point.
When I sweep them, I don't kill them. And everyone says they're just going to make more webs. I'm in his space too. It's just so basic. Like, doesn't everybody see this? Doesn't everybody understand this? That nothing is yours, nothing is mine. Everything is to be shared. It's you know, I speak very existentially and very philosophically, and a lot of people might not understand me, but people that understand me. And that's really all I need. I don't even need you to understand me. It's just how I see things.
Yes.
And I don't like when scales are unequally yoked. Yeah, I don't like the mistreatment of things, people, creatures, you know. And so maybe this is what has shifted me away from my Catholicism into Zen Buddhism, a state of not wanting anything. Eating a bowl of rice is enough.
And being content.
Not just that, not wasting a drop of water. A drop of water. You know, things like that, being mindful. It's been very helpful to me. So I don't let go of that practice there. I have attachment, which is what you shouldn't do. You shouldn't be attached to anything, not even what I'm saying.
So when did you transition in terms of your beliefs to Zen Buddhism?
That happened, I think, in my 20s. Yeah. When I got some sense in my head. You just stop looking at yourself a bit and look at others and look at life. And then you also realize the interconnectivity of things. And you realize you are in others and they are you. And it's a very beautiful understanding. Because when I see people, they see me. And it's such a gift, you know? Being alive and having these kinds of exchanges, even nonverbal and even cyberly, feeling one another's auras and allowing each other space. Which
to be,
I think, is such a beautiful thing, for me to greet you like this and for you to greet me just like this too, rather than try to hold me or tell me, no, don't do that, don't go over there, don't think that way, don't wear that, you know. I see you and this is you, you know.
So you just rebel against any form of system that is...
Yeah, I don't like controlling. And the funny thing is that in romance, all my lovers or husbands will say, you're so controlling.
Right?
But and also that I've gotten over myself there too. That was youth and folly. You know, I'm very different now. Yeah, I don't like. I think more than control, I don't like oppression. And so as an artist, I scream out of a cage and fly the lids of cages, if I can, of other little fairies too, you know, so, because I don't even like it in day-to-day interaction. I don't like people to, I'm very much for the underdog. And I'm also, you know, but I'm also very much for the bad guy and the villain.
Why is that?
Because you have to understand how they got that way. And remember that you are also responsible because you're a part of society. Not everyone was blessed with good parents. Not everyone was blessed with good teachers. Not everyone had good opportunities. And some people have ended up the way they are because of their life circumstances. So to understand the bad man, the gunman, the villain, and to realize that you are also partly responsible why he is the way he is. Because you are his family too, his society too, and you have mistreated him.
One of the other conversations that I had, I spoke to Dr. Sonia Stanley. She studies culture.
Yes.
I asked her about the state of dancehall
Yes.
and the impact of dancehall on Jamaican culture, crime, and all of that. You know, a lot of people point the fingers back to the music.
Yeah.
But she made the point that it's not only, if you're pointing fingers, don't point your fingers only at the music.
Yeah.
It's the news, it's the video games, it's the books, you know. What is your take on that?
Well, you know, what are you going to do? It's an ethical question there that she's asking. She's asking ethics. What are you going to do if I run a broadcasting station and there is a bit of news on the road, someone's head is blown off? What do I do? Do I not show that material ethically because it's violent and graphic and terrible? Because my competitor is going to show it.
Right. If you don't do it, somebody else will.
So I don't know the answer to that question.
Right.
What do I do? Do I show that and perpetrate, you know, you know, and continue this habit of showing these nightmarish, ghoulish images to one another's psyche, or do I not show that? I don't know the answer there. That's an ethical question, and I'm very interested. And that has to do with journalism, and that has to do with, like I said, broadcasting and so on. For artists, I think artists should do what the fuck they want. Artists are individuals. You have all kinds of artists. Some artists are very preachy, very messianic. Like Ernest Hemingway or Walt Whitman, they were trying, you know, they'll tell you what to do, how to live. And then you have complete reverse artists like Emily Dickinson that are very introverted, and yet the works about the human condition are very beautiful and relevant. So you have all kinds of artists, and I think artists should be free to do what they want. And that includes identity politics, meaning if I, Maylynne, want to write about a black person or from a black person's point of view or an old person's point of view, if you, Allison, want to write a script from a white 12-year-old girl's point of view or a Ku Klux Klan, I think you should be free to do that. There are people that believe in ethics, again, that you shouldn't write about what you don't know. You know, yeah, I'm black. I write about, you know, you can't write about the South unless you're black. Or you can't write about this unless you're that. You can't tell William Shakespeare he can't write Othello as a black man. Or he can't write a senior citizen. Art is open for, it's for the world. So as far as that is concerned, I don't know the answer to the first question about ethical morals regarding what should be shown, what should be played, what should be seen and heard in the media there. But for the artist, I think they should do what they want.
Free reign.
Absolutely. Like all people, are individuals, you know. I think artists should be encouraged, full stop. I really don't think you should tell people what kind of art to make, what genre, or what they're not allowed to write or not allowed to, you know, to paint. Just there we go again into the whole systematic oppression.
In terms of your art and what you write, what kind of stories or what's your aesthetic?
I love to write the Gothic genre. I love Jamaican folklore. I love fantasy, surrealism, and of course tragedy. I love the macabre. I like to write shorts because I think I like the feeling of when you write something short, like a poem or a 10-page story, you get a very good sense of accomplishment because something is finished and you can review and it's quick. Someone might call it instant gratification, but I enjoy making shorts, writing shorts, and taking pictures as well. I love to do self-portrait photography. And in scenes, you know, I guess because of my theater background, the whole art love. But yeah, I think as dark as they are a bit odd. I can't liken them to anyone really, other than some of my favorite authors. I'm very in love with Joyce Carol Oates, who's a contemporary American writer. I love James Baldwin. Yeah, it goes on and on. I mean, I love James Joyce. I love Haruki Murakami. I read quite a bit of also some strange authors. I read Antonio Porcia, Fernando Pessoa. I love to read Greek philosophy and mythology and history. I love to read African history more than Caribbean history. I think because I learned so much Caribbean history in high school that I'm interested in things that I don't know about. So in studying some African work recently, I got to learn about some queens, Queen Aminaras. Like, these people are heroes and we don't know about them, you know. The only what woman hero do we have? We have Nanny of the Maroons and Joan of Arc. Nobody knows about Queen Aminaras. Like, she's very important. So it's so nice to read upon that. And also Musa Massa, who's the wealthiest, and also the controversy behind him because he was so wealthy and gave money and camels and gave things away. The rumor is that that's how Europe, the white man, found out Africa was so rich.
Because of this man.
Because of this man with these diamonds and all this wonderful stuff. He was, you know. But yes, it's very enriching to read all of that. And I also enjoy YouTube. I like to just put on audio and learn that way because I'm older now and I can't read without glasses. So when I'm reading text from a book, after like an hour and a half, I get a little headache. So I do enjoy just putting on YouTube and listening to Musa Massa for hours, or listening to, you know, stories about Medea and Euripides and feminism, and just it's been a great tuition that way. There's everything on YouTube.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's that wonderful movie Moonlight that was done that won the awards.
Beautiful film.
Yeah.
Very excellent.
Isn't it great? Naomi, I forget her last name, but she played the mother, a British
Yes.
actress. She confessed to how to play a crack addict, and she just learned it on YouTube, how to find Miami in the 1980s, what crack addicts were doing, and YouTube has everything.
Everything.
So,
source material is
yeah.
there.
Actually, it doesn't have enough Jamaican things, and it doesn't
Yes.
have enough Jamaican, not just art and films and like what you'd call good stuff. It also doesn't have enough Jamaican behind the scenes raw material stuff.
True.
And I think we should think about that and not be afraid of that.
Oh, no.
That platform.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I just think that universally there isn't enough Jamaican content
Yes,
out
yes.
there.
And we get raped, you see, because they take our content and brand it as their own too. But then again, that goes back to properties theft.
Well, you know.
But I do believe, though, that people can rape and exploit people's cultures, and that's very unfair. And also agriculturally, too, with our coffee and our ginger and our wonderful bauxite and all
Yes.
of our possessions.
Cannabis.
Yes. all of our possessions.
So we're going to transition now. So you've worked in theater. You've been on screen as an actress. You told me the other day that you wrote a film,
Right.
Boy Girl.
That's right.
Tell me about Boy Girl.
Boy, Girl, and All the Rest was an entry for UNICEF Spotlight Initiative, gender-based violence docudrama. They wanted 10 minutes, and it was my first time to write this kind of narrative. And wow, it was something else. It was quite an experience to interview victims and to hear the survivors' stories. And we didn't have much time. I remember I only had 2 weeks. So luckily, the universe sent a wonderful, wonderful human being my way, non-binary. And I wrote just a portion of their story because that's not their story. You know, there's so much more to a person than what happened to you. And also, that's not their story because many other terrible things happened after that. But because I only had 10 minutes, I had to choose.
Right.
Yeah. And Allison, I can't believe up to now the project was selected and we were one of 4 that won something, and it was made into a film and shown at New Kingston Cinema, and it's the property of UNICEF, this docudrama, and it's available on YouTube, and to bring awareness, you know, and it's such an important, I think, thing that's much bigger than anyone who had anything to do with it. And we are all just, not even messengers, we're all just like holding it up. It was just something that we found, and we just, as filmmakers, as writers, as the victim, are just holding it up.
Is it the first film that you wrote?
It's the first film that I've wrote. I've written many films. First film I've written that got made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have one that is, I'm dying to make. Another 10-minute Jamaican film, LGBTQIA oriented, and this one with, I guess what one would identify they, them. It's born a woman, but you know, dresses as a stud, as a butch, and goes through trauma at home, and it's a short without any words, so there's no dialogue in it, no talking, and it's very graphic, very and I've woven into it lots of folklore as well and mysticism, and I'm dying to make it. I'm going to make it one day, hopefully. Yeah, it's called Man Crazy, even though I've held that name for so long, even though everyone hates the name. They're like, why Man Crazy? But and maybe it'll change, but yeah, that's a very important thing I feel I would love to do. And that's based on a true crime that happened here in Jamaica, that happened in the Caymanas sugarcane fields, and that's why it's important to me. It's something that happened in real life to 2 women, and my story has changed it and narrowed it down to just 1 woman, but it's their story.
Right.
They don't know me, I don't know them. It's just a story that I heard, and yeah. I would love to, you know, Ali, there are so many things I want to execute. My greatest fear is there's not enough time to execute them.
When you say time, what do you mean?
Because I have so many stories and ideas and shorts and photographs and things. And you only have this amount of years on rationally in life. And you know, you start crossing them off. You know, you're doing what you want to do, but then you realize you might not have enough time to do all of them. And that's a great fear of me, and it's very disparaging. So I try not to think about that, because I would love very much to do so many things, so many projects, so many films, so many books.
I will say to you that I listen to a lot of content online, and one of the people that I listen to online, he specifically says that if you're 40, you're still young.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I don't feel, you say I'm talking to,
Yeah, you sound like
I'm
me
talking
not
to
have
geriatric.
time.
I'm talking to
You know, like
geriatrically.
you have time.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Let me tell you. And it's not that I take long. I don't take long at all. I work very fast. I am a fast talker, a fast thinker. I work very fast, to the point where I have to do revision, re-editing. 'Cause you have two kinds of writers, or two kinds of artists. You have writers that sit and very consciously, peacefully put down their thoughts. They begin, and it flows in a stream of consciousness for them. You have painters like this and actors like this. I'm not that artist. The other one that I am is the artist that writes out of a sort of fever. I'll move the sheet and get up in the night, turn the light on, pen and paper, and it's a volcano. I don't write relaxed, contemplative. I don't write this way. I don't create art this way. I'm very instinctive, and I'm instinctive all day long, so I make art all the time. And it's a sort of fever for me. I write with intensity, quickly, so I say I do revision. I just think that they're different kinds of people, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So it sounds like you would do well, like you improvise well.
Actually, no.
You don't,
I teach improv.
right?
When I teach theater, like to kids at AISK theater class or career day at school or something. But I don't enjoy improv, and I don't enjoy doing spontaneous things like that, because I like a little premeditation and a little rehearsal, and I think that goes back to my insecurity and confidence.
So what's next for you, Maylynne?
Well, I'm writing now again. I'm in the process. I'm not supposed to talk about it,
Right.
but I'm in love with writing so much. Not that I don't love acting, because I'm still auditioning, hoping to get something once in my life from an audition.
Actually, I did not know that you have never.
Never gotten a role. Never. Movies that have come here, come and gone. I've tried them all.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but I've been such a busy actress. I'm so fortunate because every year I get the script, I'm in the theater, and so the movies come and stuff, and I don't get cast. I don't even bother to go to the auditions anymore, because after you go to 40 and you don't get the roles, you stop going to auditions.
Well,
Although
the
I went to
41st
one.
one
I
might
went to
be.
one the other day. I did one the other day, so fingers crossed again. But what's up for me now? I'm just creating, just what I was doing last year, this time, and the year before. If I'm not on stage or studying a script, I'm so serious about the work. When I have a script, I not only study the script, my lines, I know the other actors' lines, but I also study the playwright. And I like to know, I believe that the writer writes out of their time. So if the playwright happens to be alive, I love to know my playwright. And I do a lot of work that way. If the playwright is deceased, if I'm doing Chekhov, I still study Ibsen and Chekhov so that I can do Ibsen's play. I like to know everything I can about Arthur Miller before I do The Crucible. It's very nice. I like it. And so I'm very busy, I guess, educating myself, learning and unlearning, getting rid of things that were taught to me and learning new things. And writing, like I said, has been what's consuming me. And why I like it, Ali, is it's really good for, it's good to be internal rather than such an extrovert. As an actress, you're in the limelight, and as a writer, no one cares. It's very quiet, it's very passive, and I very much enjoy it. It's delightful. I write every day, and I don't write much. They are short, but I just very much love the art. And then I'm very busy domestically. I live with my mom, and I cook 3 meals a day, and I'm here with all the dogs, and I'm very busy, usually. But I'm looking forward to making more Jamaican films. I'm looking forward to being a woman, a Jamaican woman, that is getting what she deserves. I want my Jamaican women, I want my women to get the opportunities, the platforms that they deserve. I want their voices heard. I want their movies made, their stories told. I want the shelves to be filled with them as authors, not 80% men, 20% women authors. You know, there was a time women couldn't even get published. You had to pretend to be a man. Like, it's just, it's taken a long time, and we're still so far away. You know, even things that are taught in schools. I'm just tired of patriarchy, and I would love to be one of those women that, you know, helps to dismantle it in a way, and with my other sisters, you know.
And what would you say to a young artist thinking that the content that the stories that they may want to tell, they wouldn't work, let's say, with a Jamaican, within the Jamaican audience context?
You mean, that's like, what would I say to myself?
Right?
Make it do anything anyway. Jamaicans are brilliant and multifaceted. I'm not, this is rhetoric, you know. You know, I come across young talent all the time, or people online, and they're just amazing, and hungry to share their talents. And what can I say to an artist? What would I say? You know, read more. I encourage them very much to live viciously. Stop saying no to things. Say yes. Someone wants to talk to you, talk. Someone invites you to go somewhere, go. Because the richer your life, the richer your work, the richer your art. Absolutely. You don't have to do what Paul Campbell did, which is method, and go and live as a madman in a gully to play the lunatic. I don't mean go live hard to feel it. That's not what I mean. But don't be so closed. I encourage the artist to explore. And most importantly, and I say it to myself too, is to listen more. Very important. You know, as a writer, it's been a gift, because you'll be driving and you'll hear somebody say something on the street. Just hear a sentence. Somebody will shout it out. And it ends up in the movie. It ends up in the book. It's the first line of the book. So there are like gifts and gems everywhere if we listen. And words said to me at other times I hear now. You know? So, yeah, that's what I'd say to an artist.
Okay.
But you can't really say anything to an artist, you know. You can't give an artist advice. You can't tell Picasso what to do, you know.
Right,
I can't tell.
But you have creators who have insecurities. Let me just put it that way.
Absolutely.
Then the insecurities, and even as a seasoned artist or creative, you still will have insecurities.
Yeah.
You know, it's just how are you, Maylynne, able to get past your insecurities?
I don't have any insecurities with art. I have insecurities with other things, like relationships, trivial things that don't matter, or looks. Those things like, oh, you're insecure about your tummy, or you're insecure about your wrinkle, and that really doesn't matter. I'm not insecure about my art at all. I'm very deliberate with my art.
Right.
I'm not insecure about it ever. I never have been. I might not be very good, but it's not insecure work.
When you say very good, what I mean, when we're talking about the work that the artistry that you put out on Instagram, you know, you don't speak as if what it is like it. You always marvel at good quality, and you're saying that yours isn't.
I like masters, so You know, you want to be a good boxer, you study Muhammad Ali. You know, you want to be a good writer, you know what I mean?
Right.
You be a good singer, you go listen to some Whitney. Listen to how she nuanced her voice and control and octaves and just the instrument. So I like masters. And I'm very, very hard on myself. I'm a very hard critic of myself. I have a tendency to be very self-destructive, very negative, and very insecure about the not so much what people will think, because I'm bold with that. I don't care about that, like I said.
Right.
But it's with myself, like, oh, I can do better. It's like beating oneself up, or oh, I could be smarter, or I could be, that could have been more brilliantly put, or
Right.
that, you know. So, and I guess it's just learning. It's just
Right.
a learning process.
Right.
A never-ending, an ever-changing process, you know. But I'm very confident with like what I'm saying here with you in this interview, and I know for sure that by reputation and just being reflective with myself, that I know my style of work, I know what I like to talk about and why I want to talk about it, and why I keep regurgitating it.
Right.
So I think that the strong themes in my work are very sexual, very dark, very heady, you know, not too deep and pathetic. I don't ever want to be cheesy, you know. I like to be relevant. So I don't want to write something long ago or take long ago pictures and send you today. I like fresh meat. I like to share fresh
Ideas.
Zen with my family.
Okay. Okay. Well, Maylynne, thank you.
Thank you too so much. This has been such a great talk. Like I said, you know, in interviews, people they just say what pops off the top of their head, but in this, which is more relaxed, it's a bit more honest.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was feeling a little vulnerable at first, but it was actually really nice. Thank you. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
very much.
You're welcome.
My pleasure.
Well, this has been another episode of Storytelling in the Tropics. My guest, Maylynne Lowe. Look her up. Look her up. Right? Look her up. She's fantastic. Until next time, peace, love, unity, all the time. Thank you again, Maylynne.
Thank you too. So gracious. Thank you.